People, this is candy time for some of you. We're going to look at something that's different, okay? So I'm going to share some other information about certain things because it seems to have been decided that certain information is going to effectively be made available. So we're going to go ahead and start looking at some different videos. This is basically one of two tankers that gets hit in the side of the rear of the ship. And, basically what it is, they're hitting the engine room because they've told these guys, hey, no, you can't head into Iran. Now, this is a tanker. Now, I want you to pay attention because they'll end up having another tanker. There'll be other tankers showed. To pay attention how low in the water this particular tanker is. I mean, it's low in the rear. So there's something wrong with it. In other words, the tanker is already loaded with something. Okay? Please pay attention to that. Okay? The tanker so therefore there's a mystery about the tanker. Okay? And it's also running the blockade. So this is something that's important to understand what basically is going on. Now, there's different ways of looking at this, depending on the situation. Oh, I didn't get my settings right. Sorry about this. It's going to be smaller than normally was expected. So, about that. Okay, so it's going to come in a little bit. We're going to see this a little bit. You're going to see the hits, and I want you to pay attention to the pieces of molten metal that flop up into the sky, okay? They'll flop up into the sky, and then they come back down, and they go someplace. This happens, when you get a bunch of explosions going. Except there's a problem. There's a problem because there's some of these things ain't like the others. They ain't like normal molten blobs of metal. That are basically going up and coming down. And you'll notice that from the different types of what's going on. And you're going to see that there's these orb things coming from a distance away from a direction that just doesn't seem to logically make sense. Okay, so the orbs are what we're looking at here. We're going to have some fun with these orbs, try to explain these different orbs. Now, I'll lay out different mysterious words without laying names out overall because, it's time that a little bit of this comes out. So there's different opinions on stuff where some of it is, there's multiple technological levels of governments around the world, okay, that make exotic things. Let's call some of them for the moment orbs. So they can act in different ways, So some of you might remember those things that China makes you. It's a ball. It's got a gyroscope in it, and you throw it, and it's going to come right back to you. You throw it, it's going to come right back to you. Okay, and so that's kind of an orby thing. It's a cheap little toy, but what happens when you're deciding that you're like, let's get really serious. Instead of making this a toy, let's spend $1 million making an orb. And somebody else says, no, let's spend $10 million making an orb. And somebody else comes along and says, let's spend $40 million making it. Now that ship we're looking at, see how much higher it sits on the water? See, that ship is relatively empty cargo-wise because it's pretty high on the water. So it gets hit. It's getting hit, basically, so this is something that's important that way, so, it is zeroed in. You can see the markings for the, mark points. See how much higher how high it is on the water. Look at that. Look compared to where its engine room is. It's very important, because something's going to happen pretty soon. We're going to be looking at a different ship. So, see that one, the missile goes in, boom, penetrates all the way into the deeper parts of the engine room in a way, and then blows up. So, people got hurt or dead pretty much there. So now, as we move forward here, there's different theories about these orbs, and they deal with different technological levels. Now, the furthest outside theory is there. Now, here we go. Now, we got to see the ship. See the water? Did you see how low? Look how low it is sitting on the water. You can look at this stuff yourself and look it up and check it out for yourself. And see how low on the water the back end of the ship is. And it's like, why is that? Why is it so low on the water? Again, look at this. It hasn't been hit yet. Look how low it is. Look how low it is on the water. Okay? It hasn't been hit yet. Why is it so low on the water? Well, one would suggest that it's got a bunch of cargo in it. Now, see that it didn't explode? See, the missile goes in. It didn't do like the other ship where it went boom and then penetrated through and this other stuff blew up and ignited. This one doesn't do that. This one has a different design inside. There's extra barriers or there's armor inside or something. Different design. Okay. So the theory about some of these orbs is that they're somehow advanced technology from UFOs. Woo! Okay. So, yeah. And they appear more frequently in conjunction where you have nuclear material. Roswell, all this other different stuff. So you'll notice this is a reoccurring thing, that there's a massively increased percentage of UFO sightings respective to areas that have nuclear materials. So one might say that, well, it's logical that somebody might be using their most advanced surveillance equipment and technique to look at stuff and see what's going on there. So again, look how low this is on the water, this ship. Look how low it is. It almost looks like it's sinking. It's really low. Okay, but in the back end, it's real low in the back end. So what's in the back end of this ship? What are all the things in the cargo areas? So it's important to understand there's something up with this ship. There's something particularly different with this ship. Let's call it potentially a threat. I mean, as the general eyeballs would go, I would look at that and say it's low, it's really low. Therefore, it's full of some kind of cargo. What is it? Is it got weapons they're smuggling it in, or what? What something? Okay, so it's low in the water. So now we're going to look at these explosions. We're going to see different types of anomalies and artifacts from light effects, and then all of a sudden we're going to see these things pop down, boom, bouncing on the deck. Okay, that happened. Okay, except you didn't see the explosion earlier like with the other ship. So where's all of this material coming from if you don't see the explosion like the other ship? Yeah, where's all this molten metal blowing up into the sky and then coming down and, coming down and hitting? So it's not like the others. So let's look at it again here. It's going to come down, it's going to hit the deck, and it's going to bounce and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, what's going on with that? So this is kind of interesting. So, you have to wonder, okay, what was that? So the more you look at these things, the more you run into different types of things. And you'll notice that there's just like more and more of these orb things. Now, some things are artifacts. It's an in transition light thing, but other things it's like, no, they're continuously too many times. There's something there. So the military, the government's been watching the orbs for a long while, the thing about the orbs. So it's important to understand a bit about the orbs, so it really is. So we can do this again and look at this and try to wonder, okay, what's happening here? you see it? Look at all these particles. Look at all that stuff happening there. It's just like, okay, wait a minute. Let's watch it again here, maybe. Yeah, what happened there? Okay, yeah. let's do this. We'll do this one more time here. We'll just, oh, damn it. we'll just do this one more time here. We'll just run this all the way back. I had some other footage and it disappeared, but look at all those items going the reverse direction of where the missile came from. But there's no source for anything blowing up for it to be blobs of missiles. There's this whole bunch of these orbs basically. So it's like, wow, you know. So some people say, well, these are different technological level items depending on how they act, between on what they do, So, okay, So, whose country, where, whatever, is it private, whatever, what what's happening here? Is it alien? Is it something? I mean, we built it in the future and we sent it back in time. Is it UFO? Is it advanced galactic cultures that are like, hey, we have to monitor your nuclear material situations because we don't want you proliferating nuclear missiles because it will make this huge transmission across the galaxy. And that would really screw up our banking, man. Like, we're really into intergalactic crypto. Just this click in your head. We don't want you interfering with our transmissions of intergalactic crypto. Now, if you said that back in 1950, people would have went real quick. They go, okay. But you say something like that today and people go, oh, wait a minute, that kind of clicks. The idea that, nuclear weapons could, end up, making a disturbance in the, the energy streams. And, that could hurt long-range communications. And if you're dealing with crypto, I can see where, the faster-than-light communications and, advanced cultures. Okay, wait a minute, that could make sense. So this is where we're arriving now today. This is something that is becoming a larger realization with many people that are scientists. So, again, as we look at these things, we have all these different orbs, and some of them, they're not all the same, by the way. If you look at them, you'll have to go do it yourself. If you look at them, you'll notice that they're different in size. I mean, there's like 7, 8, 9 sizes. Some of these things are really big. They're like orbs are like the size of houses and stuff. And some of these things are like, the size of half your car. And a bunch of them are like, the size of your car engine. Like a V8 engine, roughly, So, and some of them are smaller. Some of these things are like, fist size or a little bigger. So where do these things come from? They're all over the place. They're all over Ukraine. They're all over all these interesting areas all over the globe. So are we being monitored by alien civilizations trying to figure out whether we're going to, what's up? Are they gathering intelligence? Are they intervening? Are they intervening? Are they supergalactic film companies from way across the galaxy just recording how we react? They got way better sensors. Let's just do the full cerebral interface, the full body experience. How human beings completely, all the way through and through, all inner 3D, emotional states, the whole 9 yards. Let's just record it here. We'll make full cerebral interface film. Why not? So there's the math on that. There's ways. Some of us have actually taken time to sit down and say, okay, how does that compute out? How many lines do we get before we have to go, atomic and then, subatomic, and we're now at quantum, and so there's some math there you can play with, but it's a serious deal to try to understand what's up with a lot of these. There's a lot of ways you can go with this. So, do you have countries that are dealing with this? So you got only a certain number of logic points. Here we go again. This is the larger ship. See how it's sitting? See how much higher out of the water it is? Like way higher out of the water. And then it gets hit, and right away, boom. You have these counter explosions that shoot straight up, coming out of stacks and stuff, okay? So, okay, that happens, right? So we have deep penetrating type, these Hellfire missiles, they're designed to pierce right inside and do the deal, So, they're going to do something, and it probably unleashes some really nasty set of chemicals that do things, and it's just like, what is it? Oh, it's just, it's like this, it's worse than napalm. It's this huge ultra liquid metal stuff that's somehow just going to melt down and destroy and damage that motor and just take it out of the picture, So look how high that sucker sits. You can see how high that one's sitting. But when we get to the other ones, it becomes a different situation. Like here, just we're looking at this, and all of a sudden, boom! Look at that, right up, bang! It's just. But that one, look at this one. This one is sitting really low on the water. So would these orbs be? Let's say that this is orbs from our countries here now today. Would these be advanced scouts? They've come up, they've got ultra sensors in it, and they're looking at this, and they go, hey, there's a problem here with these guys, and they're going to monitor it. These would be intelligence devices. And then finally it's decided, okay, whoop. So there's a counter transmission that could be occurring, helping and targeting or not. They can be completely independent systems. They don't even have to be our system. They can be other country's system. But when you're looking at what some people would call, well, I think it's definitely advanced technology there, these orbs, because it's going to come in here and go boom. You can see all these orbs right here. Just kind of all of a sudden, here it goes. It hits boom, and then all of a sudden fades away, and all of a sudden, here comes these orbs. Look at all those orbs. Where are these orbs coming from? That was not the best shot on that one. It's low in the water, way low in the water. A lot of weight back there, all the way in the back. So is it already taking on water? That'd be kind of unusual. So, but they're going to hit it because it's still moving. So I think you're looking at a situation where there's hidden cargo on board, and they're probably trying to make it look like there's a problem. In other words, oh yeah, we got a problem. We got to take this to port. We're sinking. I don't think that's the case at all. There's a lot of ways to deal with that. I would say that the ship has contraband cargo on it. Cargo definitely of a concern on that. So this is a reality. We have to look at this item as a reality. It's okay, these orbs are intelligence devices and advanced, and they've already been stationed nearby this ship, and the missile's going to come in, boom, do its business. Now there's no reason really for the orbs to really stay. Think about it. Okay, they've disabled this. The cargo's not going to watch the back end of this. Watch the back end of this ship right here. Because you end up having an orb that's a different size. This thing's like a basketball. And there goes the explosion. Keep looking, because it's going to hit the deck and bobble and bounce off. See that? There it is. Boom, bobble, bounces. So the electronic software, hardware is kind of trying to figure out how to, on the scan from the disruption. So that thing just totally bobbled on the back end of that, it bounced. And why would it bounce? See the other. Now you got another challenge. Here's another tech challenge for you. Why would it do that? In other words, how would you have to make that device to make sure that it would do that way? In other words, it's not going to do a high bounce, it's going to do a low bounce. See, now you got to think about the tech challenge in that. What are you doing inside that? What kind of components you got going in that to do that? Okay. So, yeah, this is, it's a serious thing to look at, and you could say, yeah, this can be some more high tech. But, we also have people that have been talking about seeing orbs for thousands of years. So are alien cultures actually concerned that there's this nuclear situation with Iran? And also pointing more than that out. They're pointing out. You see, now we've got to tell here. Well, if they're from an alien civilization, and now they're there around the ship. A lot of them, they're obviously there. The missile comes in, boom, and then they're going to run off from basically that location. They're heading towards where the missile came from. But we're not getting attacked, actually. So what is that? Intelligence? Where they're, we're retrieving our stuff. Or there's different ways to look at it. One is there's no longer the same perceived threat. No longer the same perceived threat. So there's no reason for that many orbs to be monitoring from those angles. That was a lot of orbs, by the way. That's a whole lot of orbs. So you're really talking about a significant threat connected to that tanker. And that's I'd say that has everything to do with some kind of cargo on board. Very logical. So, depending on how you want to look at this on your tech levels, on who made it, when, where, whatever. If it's an alien species, what are they doing? That's a lot of orbs to be monitoring us, unless they really want to record us thoroughly. I mean, like really thoroughly. I mean, what they're going to send a mother probe that's going to open up and whoop, all of these orbs come out. Sure, why not? Yeah, we can do this. Okay. So it's going to be doing what? Not just scanning our stuff, because if they're advanced aliens, they're way beyond what we're building. So they're scanning us. They're studying us. We are the entertainment. How about that one for you? We are the entertainment. And they're studying us. They're going to make a documentary. And they're going to have our complete full 3D human existence, emotional state. Everything about our minds, the thoughts that go through our mind, everything. So that can be the more advanced understanding, going into these different things this way. And there's different ways to analyze this, but I would need my special equipment back again. I actually made custom-made equipment. Nobody had equipment like what I made. My Greenbrier lab, that was kind of unique. I could do a lot of really interesting things with some of that equipment. I had people that would have maybe a knife, a sword or something, and they went, hey, there's a stain on it. I want to know if it's blood. So I don't know, is that blood? Is there a way to test that? And someone says there's no way to test for it. I said, sure there is. Oh, what do you mean, sure there is? I says, here's what you do. Get this speed film, use a 35 millimeter camera. I want you to arrange the lighting at this certain level and take a photograph of it. Here's your instructions. And take some photographs and send me the photographs. And I'll be able to run it through my scanning equipment and tell you whether or not that's blood. I could do that, So I actually had some really cutting-edge stuff. I really did. It was custom-made. And I could detect things that other people could not. I had a lot of ways to do special tricks on stuff, to do special analyzations and stuff. But anyhow, that having been said, we've seen our examples of what we're looking at here, as we've seen this different type of stuff that way. And, because this is what's happened. And then all of a sudden it's like, there it goes right here. It's going to go, bang, right there, hits, and then whoop. So there you go. Orbs. Okay, there's more, but that's enough for now.